Good evening and welcome to another piano lesson with Warren. My name is Warren McPherson. Thank you for joining me here today. If you're a returning subscriber, viewer, welcome. And if you're very new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you can be notified when I post a new video. And I try to post a new video every 5 to 7 days. So in today's tutorial, I want to talk about 7 tips or recommendations or tricks, if you may. 7 things that you can instantly add to your playing and make it different, make it better, make it more professional, make it sound more advanced. And these 7 tips can be applied today. You don't have to spend months. Just little things I'm going to show you that I do in my playing, and it really makes a difference. However, before we get to that, in my last video, 7 days ago, I ran a little giveaway, Father's Day giveaway, where I've decided to give away this beautiful piano lesson with Warren hat to a lucky father. And the competition was simply to write below, comment in the video, your most memorable time being a father. And today, I've picked a winner. My most memorable time as a father is dedicating our son back to the Lord. And, you know, there were some very powerful comments from other fathers, but this one resonated with me. You know, simple statement, but very powerful. The idea of giving back your child to the Lord so he can protect him, shower him with blessings, to be under the umbrella of protection from the mighty Lord. It's very powerful in my opinion, and so I would like to give Vince Williams this hat for free. I'm going to mail this to your address. So Vince, send me a private message either right here on YouTube or to my email at war85ren@gmail.com. We can chat, I'll get your address, and I'll mail you this hat. And thanks for all the other fathers who also participated in this little giveaway. And from time to time, I will run other giveaways, so stay tuned. Make sure that you watch the weekly videos. One last announcement, DVDs, yes. So a few weeks ago, I released licks, actually about 7 days ago or 14 days ago. I released Lixology, the study of licks, lines, and runs in your playing, and a lot of you guys have been saying, when's the DVD coming? Well, the DVDs are here. Same thing for Soul Chords. Soul Chords, how to master 9th chords in all 12 keys. Major 9s, minor 9s, dominant 9s. And these DVDs, you can order these from Piano Lesson with Warren. All the other courses are also available on DVDs, so you can head over there and check those out. All right, let's jump into today's course. So the very first thing you can do to instantly improve your playing, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, is to immediately add a sustain pedal. If you've been playing keyboard without a sustain pedal, you will not be able to achieve some of the sounds and things that you see me do on the piano. Things like, or, that sort of smooth, connected sound. The sustain pedal is what's doing that for me. And if you just got a sustain pedal and you're like, I'm not sure how to use this, go back to my tutorial number 48, where I break down tips how to use the sustain pedal. So that's step number 1. Get a sustain pedal immediately. It will start to transform how you sound. If you've been playing without sustain pedal, everything is going to sound choppy. Yeah, so that's step number 1, get a sustain pedal. Number 2, things you can do to improve your playing right away is the left hand position, what I call the 1-5-1 position. Right? So if you're playing a C chord, you don't have to do this. You go to an F chord and you do that. That's sort of, very beginner playing. Once you sort of learn your chords, start to experiment with what I call the 1-5-1, and that's just the octave with the fifth. And this is sort of like my default playing when I'm playing triads. See? Whatever key I'm in. And the 151 just gives you a nice full sound because you're spanning an octave. Yeah? And then that frees up the right hand to be able to do all kind of other stuff. Little lines, runs, or you can play full triads. The 151 for the left hand. So that's tip number 2. Number 3 is to break up the chords. This is what we call blocked chords. When you play all the notes at the same time, we call that playing chords in blocked format. Blocked chords, yeah? Where you can start experimenting is breaking up the chords in a more what we call arpeggiated style playing. It's the same chords. Now you're just breaking them up. And it gives you a different sound. And there are a lot of variations in how you can break up the chord. In this example, I was starting from the lowest note all the way up. The lowest note all the way up. You can do the opposite. You can start from the highest note. I like to do sometimes when I call the contrary motion where I go, yeah? You can do also what we call the staggering motion where you do, see? So you can stagger it between the hands. This takes some practice, but there are almost infinite variations on how you can do stuff. And then you can decide which note you want to accent with the thumbs or with the index, countless variations. And so you guys now should go and experiment with that. But that's what I call breaking up the chords. Instead of just playing everything blocked, start experimenting with breaking up different rhythms and see what you like. Tip number 4 is to add grace notes to your playing. What are grace notes? When you see me playing, I do stuff like this. That's called a grace note, like a flicker. And I use these 2 fingers. I start, for example, on this one. If I'm playing a C major chord, sometimes I might go to the E flat, and I just flick that from finger 2 to 3 down to the E. And it gives you this nice sort of bending sound, you know? Same thing like what guitars would do. But because we don't have a guitar, and we don't want to be messing around with this pitch bend thing, we just do that to bend the sound. And when I'm playing, you might see I do. Yeah. Even with that. Again. You know, I do it a lot with this, but I can even do it with finger 4 and 5, fingers 1 and 2. The goal is to practice how to use that. The better you get at it, the more you'll be able to do it smoothly. You know, for example, that song that I was playing earlier. That's one. That's another. Another one. Another one. Yeah, another one. So you can use them all over the place. In Baroque music, way back in Bach and Beethoven's day, they call those ornaments, adding ornaments to your playing. And centuries later, it still applies. You can add ornaments. And this is a very noticeable thing that is done in gospel music. You know, you can do it in harmonies. Same thing. That's in thirds. You can do it in fourths. So when you hear those sounds, it's just grace notes. Yeah. You can do it with the left hand too. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I run it from like here. I'm just playing some random chords. There are a lot of places, and this is something I've just been messing around with for a few years, and so I can do it all over the place. So that's adding grace note. Another thing that is similar to adding grace notes is to add turns. So this is number 5, adding turns. And turns is basically, for example, I'm going to play a G. I can do something like this. Note, the note above G to G, to G flat back to G. So it's like a turn. You start above, you go down, you go up, and you come back down. We call it a turn. Sometimes I can even start from this note. So the idea is that I'm ornamenting G by embellishing a turn around it. And then this is all stuff that classical players have been doing for centuries. I was trained as a classical pianist, so I just sort of brought those ideas over. But other gospel pianists have been also doing this for decades too. So this is not new, you know? That's called a turn. And I can do... There is a sweet anointing in the sanctuary. Turn. There is a stillness in the atmosphere. Another one. All those are turns. And there's so many variations you can do with your turns. You can go note, down, end it with grace note. We also often use turns with grace notes. So you can hear, I just embellish that D. Or I can embellish that D, resolve it down to a B flat. And you can just sit and practice these variations. Come and lay down the burdens you have carried, for in the sanctuary, God is here. And this little run I did right there, it's an A flat chord, and then and just run it from the F, So you have. So turns, grace notes. One of the things where the turn sounds beautiful is when you do it on a non-diatonic note, a note that doesn't belong to the key. So if I'm doing, say I'm doing a 7-3-6 in the key of E flat, I can do something like, so instead of make this a D minor 7 flat 5, I just make it a minor chord, but I embellish that A by just start from the B, grace note, turn, resolution. And so 1, 2, another one. Let's try it again. Yeah. And there's so many things you can do. Yeah. Another one? Yeah? Or that's another one right there. Grace note to E, turn all the way down to C. So another one. Another one. Anyway, as you can see, I love doing this. I have fun with it. But that's when you combine the grace note with the turns. And you start to hear that sound. Those sort of like, you know, a style, a character that you hear a lot of gospel and R&B players do. It's, you know, just by adding grace notes and turns to what you're already doing. Let's take a look at what I call stride technique. Yep. And stride technique is when you hit the bass and then you play the rest of the chord. So if I'm playing something a little bit more up-tempo, I can do. Stride piano, and you're just hitting the bass. So for example, if I'm doing just a basic 1-6-2-5 in E flat, I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I'm just hitting the bass, 2, 5. That's basically what stride piano is. Now, there are a couple things you can do with the stride to make it interesting. And again, I'm going to stagger the left and the right hand. So instead of playing both chords together, I can do. So I'm dropping the right hand first, then the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the left hand drops on the beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the right hand's dropping on the and. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. And so you can do. This hand is doing all sorts of syncopation, and the left hand is being constant. It's just playing on the beats. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can just sit and practice just left hand strides. In stride piano, the left hand is usually consistent, keeping the 1, 2, 3, 4 beats, and the right hand gets to do all kind of fancy stuff. So that's stride, and there are a lot of variations you can do with strides. You can even do strides with broken chords. So I can do, yeah. You can add it with the broken chord. It doesn't have to be straight blocked chords and strides. So as you can see, when you start to layer all of these things, combine them, sustain pedal with the use of the 1, 5, 1, with the use of the broken chords, adding grace notes, adding turns, and then using strides. I know it's a lot, but I want you to practice these things individually and then start to combine them. And you'll see your playing transform drastically. The other one I want to talk about is, the last one, is to add licks. Now, if you don't know anything about that, this course comes in. You can get this course as both a DVD, a digital download, and you can also stream it. Right now, I'm offering a 3-day free trial for the streaming. So you can go and basically watch this entire course for free for 3 days on the streaming. I teach you how to add licks to your chords, but as you can see, I've been using the 1-6-2-5, so we'll continue with that. If I'm doing just a basic 1-6-2-5, you can start doing that was a little lick right there, nothing fancy. You can do licks as individual lines, you know, like. Or you can do it in a more harmonic fashion with the chords. So. And that's how you add licks to your playing. So those are the 7 things you can do to instantly transform your playing. Let's do a quick recap. Number 1, add a sustain pedal. Get a sustain pedal. I recommend those big ones because it doesn't move when you're playing. The pedal's not all over the place. It's more grounded. Number 2, start experimenting with the 1-5-1 position. You can do it as blocked, you can do it as broken. Number 3, break up your chords, yeah? Don't just get used to playing block chords. Start experimenting with breaking up the chords. One rule I'll add is that when you're playing broken chords, never lose sight of beat 1. So you can do stuff like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You know, so it doesn't matter how complex my rhythm gets, I can feel where 1 is, and my pinky always hit that strong bass note on beat 1 to keep me grounded. So that's the only thing I wanted to add with that, is don't lose sight of beat 1, else you get lost. Going down the line is to add grace notes, yeah? Combine it with turns. All of these things are just require these 3 fingers most of the time. So that's adding grace notes and trills. Grace notes and turns. Stride technique, not a powerful one. So the stride technique is another powerful one. And lastly, adding licks. Start putting little lines, you know, start exploring with that. And Licksology will definitely get you on the right path to doing so. So that's what I have for you guys today. As always, thanks for watching. Mr. Vince Williams. Claim your hat, shoot me a message, and we can talk about shipping details to get you your prize. If you have not been over to Piano Lesson with Warren, I'm telling you, my YouTube channel offers a lot of content, but the real content exists on my website. And you can get them as downloads, DVDs, and streaming. 3-day free trial on the streaming, so you can check it out and see if that's right for you. Until then, keep listening, keep singing, and keep practicing, and I'll catch you in the next tutorial. Have a wonderful evening.